Welcome back to our episode. Ryan here with Chaos MMA. Today we've on Giovanna Canuto, who fights December 15th at LFA 173. Giovanna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Pretty great day here. And for training, do you train early in the morning? Do you train at night? Like, did you get to train today? How was the training schedule like?
Today I'm just like chilling. I'll probably go on a run. I usually train Saturday mornings, but my coach moved it to Friday because he had to be out of town. So I kind of just did everything in like one day. I had a super hard day on Friday. But
Okay.
then but yeah, like this weekend is pretty chill. I might go on a run and then I might do some open mat tomorrow at 10th Planet, and then usually during the week is like when I'm going super hard.
Yeah, I mean, the fight's almost getting here. It seems like training's all to discuss more about that. But I remember we talked back, I think it was in July or August, and we were talking about getting fights, and you said you were having like trouble getting fights, having opponents accept the fight with you. So how did this all
Yeah.
come about?
Well, I wasn't able to get any fights for months. I tried to reschedule the fight that fell off, and we couldn't get that done. And then we tried a few other girls. They also denied it, or they already had fights scheduled.
Okay.
So I couldn't really get any fights. And then my manager, Chris, calls me and he's like, "Hey, there is an opportunity to fight for the belt." Um, and I was like, "Oh, is it too early?" Like as a young person, I'm like, I don't want to rush into anything. I was planning on taking my time, but then since we had such a hard time getting fights, then I was like, I talked to my coaches and they're like, my coach Casey thinks that I can fight anyone at any time. So I was like, okay, like you're a little biased. And then I talked to the whole team and they were like, yeah, I think you can win this. And I was supposed to fight Hose Conceição on the 15th, but unfortunately she got hurt. And then the other girl that I'm fighting now came in and accepted it. So we're fighting for the interim.
Yeah, and I remember we were when you were saying you didn't really want to rush anything. You kind of just wanted to, take the path and let everything come to you. But you just feel it's the right time, it's the right opportunity, and you feel like it's just bound to happen now.
I guess, yeah. I was gonna like wait and take my time, but then at the same time, like I need to stay active. I've been competing since I was 6, 7 years old. And in jiu-jitsu, I was competing every weekend, like 2 to 3 times. So there was like this drastic change when I went to MMA because you can only fight like if you're really active, you're fighting maybe every 2 to 3 months, unless you're crazy and you're fighting like every week, like Hamza or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like a little change, and then I'm trying to fight as much as possible, but um my fights keep getting canceled or something happens, and some people would say it's bad luck, but I honestly view it as like more time for me to get better. And I honestly think it was messed up for the whole division to leave me out for a year because I feel like I'm way better. Like looking back at my fight that was supposed to happen in June, if I think it was June or July. Um, I was confident then, and I think I'm way better now. Like way, way, way better. Like that whole thing that happened just made me like really get into training and being like, okay, um, I'm gonna stop training for like I don't know how to say this, but I'm gonna stop training for like a certain goal that's only like, oh, I'm fighting on this date, so I'm gonna get as good as possible until this date. I just started to get better just for myself. So um any fight that happens, I'm pretty confident. Like I could be fighting just a regular fight or fight for the belt. I would bring out the same energy.
Yeah, I mean, is it frustrating in a sense, because you are working so hard, you are training hard, and no one in this division will take this fight. And I know you want to get fights in, because you're trying to build towards a goal. So is it just
Mhm.
staying ready whenever the call comes, and then maybe the fight happens? Because I know recently, like you said, you've been having trouble getting some opponents.
I mean, of course, I would be lying if I said that it isn't frustrating. But I guess it's kind of a good problem to have, right? It's
Yeah.
like it shows that I'm doing something right. Um I only train with high level people. Like I have high level people around me, people I really trust. So at the end of the day, if I get a call to fight King Kong and my team says, "Hey, I think we can do it," I like to think of myself as a really coachable like athlete. So whatever my coaches say or tell me to do, I would say yes, like even if myself, like if I have a little bit of doubt or I'm like concerned, because of course it's my career, so I like tend to overthink it. But if my coaches say, hey, like I believe in you, that's why I like to have coaches that are really, really trusting my corner because I can't know you for like 2, 3 months, like it has to be like there's like a relationship between me and my coaches where if you tell me to do a backflip in the middle of the fight, I might just risk it and do it,
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's why I really have people I trust, and the call comes, and the first people I don't accept it at all. I just go straight to my coaches, and if they say yes, then I'm doing it. Even like they believe in me more than I believe in myself sometimes, and then that turns, like in between camps, like I go from like doubting myself or like maybe being concerned. I wouldn't say doubting myself, but like from being concerned and nervous to having this group of people like motivating me and training me to be in that level, and then like it hits a switch and then I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, having the right people around you, even especially in the sport, it seems like it's very important. And
Oh yeah.
Gigi King Kong, maybe we'll book that for March or April. And then for you, what do you know about Natasha? Do you like have you seen her fight before? Have you watched the film on her? Like what do you know about her style and everything?
I mean, I know she's a judo girl, of course, and I know that she has a really, really strong judo background, just like I have really strong jiu-jitsu background. I've done judo like when I was younger. Um, I would never compare my judo to hers, to say like, oh, I know what, but I respect her. I think I love judo. I think it's such a classy sport. So I watch a lot of judo. I know a lot of people that know her also, but yeah, I think it's gonna be a good fight. I do think that it's not a judo fight, it's an MMA fight, so we have to put that into account. I'm not really afraid of her judo because my ground game is so good. Like my coach always says that taking when people take me down, they're taking themselves down. So like I really don't care. I'm just going out there and doing my job. I don't really care about my opponents that much, to be honest. Like I watch some of the fights just so I can know what I'm putting myself into, but at the end of the day, it's an MMA fight and I have to win, and she's just somebody that's challenging me until I get to my ultimate goal, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I mean, the fight's coming soon, about 2 weeks out. And now I gotta ask you, do you have an official prediction on this fight? Like, do you see it going a certain way? You be getting a lot of submissions. You think maybe you get another submission, maybe even a knockout. What are you feeling about this fight?
I think I'm complete. Like before, if you asked me like that maybe 3 months ago, I would be like, man, the ultimate goal is to take the person down and submit them. But right now, to be completely honest with you, I feel really complete. Like I've been sparring way more often. Before, so the funny thing is that I just noticed this talking to my husband, and I was like, man, I only train MMA whenever I have a fight. Like
Okay.
that's really bad, like before. So if I didn't have a fight for 6 months, I would only be doing jiu-jitsu because it's kind of like a part of my day. Since I was
Yeah.
young, I would always do jiu-jitsu. So I would only do jiu-jitsu every single day. And then I would get a fight and I would be like, okay, now I have to train boxing and I have to train Muay Thai and I have to spar. So all of my fights that I've had so far were fights where I was only doing jiu-jitsu, and then they called me and I was like, oh, now I got to train MMA, and that's pretty ridiculous when you think about it. But then, um, since the fight that was supposed to happen against, I forgot her name, but since that fight that was supposed to happen, I've been training consistently, everything, and I've been sparring and I've been training with people that do MMA and people in a high level too. So I feel way more comfortable. Like like sparring doesn't get me nervous anymore. I'm just flowing, and I feel like my boxing is amazing right now because of Coach Gill. Um, yeah, I've been doing so much wrestling, like everything is just on the dot. Like I feel like I could do anything. Like if you told me that I have to go into this fight and I don't have to use my jiu-jitsu, I would win. If you told me that I would have to use my jiu-jitsu, I would win. If you told me that I needed to only use kicks, I would win. Like I would win in everything. That's how I think about it.
No, yeah, it seems like your skill level getting better every day. It seems like you said, you're becoming a complete fighter. You're a complete fighter.
Yeah.
And I saw you are training with Casey O'Neill, the team down there too. She's also
Mhm.
having a fight the day after your fight. So how much
Yeah,
does that
yeah.
kind of help? Having a fight at the same time, training, having that high intensity for a fight coming up. Does that help in a sense?
Oh yeah, it helps so much. Like I talked to my husband on the line. I'm like, man, I'm so grateful that me and Casey have
Yeah.
our fight camps at the same time. And she's been like my ride or die. It our story is actually really funny because we both didn't like each other like at all in the beginning. I always thought she was dope, but we didn't like each other, and um we started to train at the same gym, and I started to get to know her, and I love her. Like she's one of my closest friends at the moment, and yeah, to think that we just didn't like each other, like we almost didn't like each other, and like now we're like super close to each other. Um, yeah, man, she brings out that like dog in me because she just has it, and she's so confident, so blunt, and like she's not afraid to be herself. And
Yeah.
I think that's so important whenever you're trying to get to that level, like not caring and doing what you have to do. And it makes people like filter themselves out, and then you only have good people around you. Also, like she's just the hardest worker in the room. Like you can't work more than Casey. Um, like we actually tell her all the time, like she needs to train less. But honestly, that's been motivating me a lot, because like whenever I'm down or whenever I'm having a bad day, she's just like, let's train, let's train. Like she'll actually just give me rides all the time. Like she's just like, let's train. So she keeps pushing me. It's awesome. Like it's super cool that we're having a fight. I told her and my manager that I'm not having like a celebration until she wins her fight. So I'm winning, and then I'm not doing anything on that day until the day after when she wins, and then we celebrate it together.
Well, yeah, wow. It seems like that relationship's really close. It seems like that's probably so beneficial for the gym. You get that belt the
Mhm.
15th, and she comes in that next night on the 16th and she gets that win. I'm sure that'd be
Mhm.
a night for both of you and for you. Just last couple things. What
Mhm.
do you feel about, like, you're just talking about hard work in the sport, maybe working when nobody's watching. They always say that's when like the true
Mhm.
champions are made, when nobody's watching. What is your overall
Mhm.
thoughts on always working hard in the gym, always giving it your all and trying to be the best?
Well, the good thing about me is that I'm ridiculously lucky, and I have a husband that does videography and photography. So
Yeah,
he's
I
actually
yeah, I felt
everybody's always watching it.
okay.
you know, um, what was the question again? Sorry.
Just like what are your thoughts on like hard work in the sport? Maybe working when nobody's watching, doing things
Mm.
maybe at home or in the gym when there's not that many people around, just doing the little things, the basic things, kind of what is your overall thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was just reading a book on how the littlest things can influence the win, and like a basketball coach will come in and they'll teach like there's the people playing how to put their shoes on,
Yeah.
because like you can't afford to have a blister, and the blister makes uh you like compensate to one foot, and like one foot gets fucking like torn. So like the littlest things like putting your sock on could influence your game, as a basketball player. So I take that into account into fighting too. So it's like the littlest things like hydrating or like eating clean or waking up and going to sleep at a certain time. Like all those things influence my training. I notice it a lot. Um, like stretching after training, which I'm terrible at, but my husband like um gets on me about that. Yeah, just the littlest things. Studying a lot. I study like a lot at home. Like I just watch videos 24/7. I think that if you ask me what made me like a good athlete, um, like even in jiu-jitsu or MMA or anything, like what makes me elevate my game the most would be studying. Like I'm at home watching videos 24/7. I
Yeah.
think that's one of the most important things. Like people tend to be busy more than productive. Like they tend to like check the little box and be like, "Oh, I was at the gym," but it's like, did you really have a useful training session? Like were you really there, and like did you really learn? Were you present? Were you just kind of going through the motions? It's okay to have fun sometimes, but it's like, did you have like a purposeful training session? So I'm constantly connecting my training sessions to my studying. So I'll go to my training session with a goal. Like every single day I go to my training session with a goal. If I'm sparring, I tend to hit at least one thing that I want. If I'm doing jiu-jitsu, I tend to just I'm like, I need to get this takedown or I need to get this guard pass, you know, and it's something that I studied like 30, 40 minutes before. And I'm on my way there thinking about it. And then I get there and I hit it. And I think that kind of keeps me motivated to train every day because it gets tiring sometimes. But yeah, just having a goal, having purposeful training sessions, studying a lot, um, doing the little things like hydrating, eating clean, all of that counts for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're doing the right things. You're on the right path. You know, like that, what's it called? Kobe Bryant, when he was like, they said he was obsessed, doing all the right things, even
Mhm,
in the gym when no one's watching. Seems like you're kind of on like a similar path doing those things. But for you,
for
thanks again
sure.
for your time. I really do appreciate December 15th, title fight, LFA 173. Tune in. And if you want to thank any sponsors, shout out any social media, the floor is yours.
Um, I just want to thank everybody for all the support. I think this fight is gonna be truly, truly special. It's almost like a blessing in the sky that my last fight didn't happen, which is messed up to say, but it's because I wanted 5-0 to be like a big thing, you know? Like I really want I feel like 5-0, 10-0, like all of those are like nice marks, you know? So like being 5-0, winning the belt, in Las Vegas, which has been my home for the last 6 years, with my teammates around, with family around. My mom is here from Brazil, so that's gonna be truly special. She hasn't watched any of my MMA fights because she's always been in Brazil, so she'll be here. And yeah, if she's in the crowd, I'm willing to die to get what I want and make her proud. You know, so um, yeah, it's gonna be truly special. So I just want to thank God for the opportunity and everybody that's gonna be watching it. Yeah, no, thank you for having me, of course. Yeah, that's
Yeah, no, yeah,
it.
thanks for coming on. It's always great catching up. And I'm sure, having your mom there getting that belt, that's going to be a moment you probably will never forget. But good luck for the fight. And yeah, we'll catch up soon. Thanks again.
Appreciate you, man. Have a good day.
Have a good one. Bye bye.
Bye.